Hi, I'm Sarah Jenkins with the Beyond the Falls podcast, and today I have Chad Koranda.
Yes.
Our Pierce County Sheriff here today.
That is who thank you for the introduction. Yes, I am the sheriff here in Pierce County. I live in River Falls. I live on the south end of town, and I've been in River Falls living since I came here for college in 1998.
1998.
Yep, and the town grabbed a hold of me, and I'm still here. I'm a local. Am I a local?
I think so.
Yeah, I think I made local status finally. Townie is you had to born, raised, graduate, I think is the ruling.
Is it?
Yeah, so I think I'm at local.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm allowed to hang out at Johnny's every once in a while, so I must be doing something right.
That's right. What brought you to River Falls?
What brought me to River Falls? Well, I was born and raised on the east side of St. Paul. I went to an inner city school named Harding High School. It was a big school. I think one year that I was there, we had close to 2,900 kids in it.
Wow.
Very diverse.
Wow.
A lot of different stuff than where I live now and raise a family. So in 1998, I graduated from Harding High School, and I came to UW River Falls because it was the only place that was really looking for a 5'6" guy to play football. And at that time, I guess I thought maybe I was going to grow another few inches or something, like a late life spurt, but that never happened. But anyways, I came here in 98 to play football and try to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And I wasn't sure at the time. I really didn't have a solid goal that I wanted to reach on what I wanted to do. But when I got here to college and stuff, I started to kind of fall in love with geography. And when I look back, I always remember, the Rand McNally big road maps and stuff like that. I always remember ripping that thing open and trying to figure out where I was and stuff about different towns. So when I came here, I majored in geography, minored in criminal justice, and cartography. I wanted to make maps of crime, and for a little while I was kind of trending towards being a geography teacher, but some decisions in life led me to doing a 6-credit internship in Ellsworth, and here I am today.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, elaborate a little bit more on that.
On the internship?
Yeah, and how it brought you to where you are today.
Oh, that's a great question. So, comes to be I was a person that managed to turn the 4-year college experience into about 5.5, 6 years. And towards the end of my time in school, I had to get a 6-credit internship, and I wasn't sure where I was going to do it, and I wanted it to be with law enforcement and mapping or whatever. Essentially, I just needed to get it done, or I was going to be on a 7-year path. And I put my best collared shirt on at the time, and I drove down to Ellsworth. It was the first time I'd ever been to Ellsworth, Wisconsin in my entire life. Oh. And I sat in the lobby of the sheriff's department there, and Diane Wiskersion, she was the front door lady. She worked with me for a long time, almost my entire career. She works part-time for me now, but I remember sitting in the lobby for close to 2.5 hours waiting to talk to the sheriff. Oh. And she'd keep saying, "Are you still here? You're still here? He's really busy." So that's all right. It's important. So after a long wait, then Sheriff Everett Mulhausen brought me into the office. We talked about what I was looking to do, and he's like, "All right, when can you start?" So I did that internship with the sheriff's office. Got done, graduated. For about a year or so, I was kind of bouncing back from my parents' house in St. Paul and a bunch of my friends that still lived here in town, and wasn't really sure what I was going to do. And then I just was like, I asked the then jail lieutenant, Mike Knoll, if they would be willing to sponsor me to go to what's called Recruit Academy. And basically what that is you go to tech school in Eau Claire, and that's where they train you how to get into law enforcement. And the reason being is I'd really come to terms with, I really like people. And that's where that geography passion came from. Geography was learning about different people and where they're from and their different places and how that affects them. And, it couldn't be more true from a guy from the inner city of East St. Paul coming to River Falls. I knew what a cow was. I guess I didn't necessarily, I'm being way too hard on myself. I knew a lot about farming and stuff, but I just, my life was completely different.
Yeah.
And I really had a passion for that, and I really love people. And I come to find out that I wasn't really going to get that opportunity sitting in front of a computer in that internship. And I like the law enforcement aspect. And so I want to say that's 2005. I go to Recruit Academy, and I get hired at the sheriff's office. I start as a jailer and dispatcher, so I was the person that would answer the 911 calls, those types of things. I also worked as a jailer inside the jail. It was that was probably one of the most important times in my career, because it allowed me to. I'm still maturing, by the way, so we'll get that one out there first. But at that time, it was really important for a kid my age to kind of have these contacts in a setting that was somewhat controlled with individuals that I'd likely be dealing with a lot in my career, which I have, and some of them have become friends and stuff like that. So worked in the jail, dispatch center, ended up going out into our patrol division for a few years, and then I was promoted to a patrol sergeant. And right around that time, a couple years after that, a spot teacher in our DARE program opened up. And so I taught our DARE program for 8 years in 5 of the 6 school districts in River Falls. The only school district that I didn't teach in is River Falls, which is that, it would just been too big. But my full-time job was actually teaching kids ways to be safe and responsible, which, for those of people out there that know my past, I'm just as much of a human being as anyone else. And I've learned a lot from mistakes that I've made. And those were things that I tried to pass on to the kids in the DARE program. So I did that, and then 3.5 years ago, I made a run for sheriff, and I was elected. So here we are.
Here we are.
Yes.
I'm going to just go back on the DARE piece.
Yes.
What from that time has carried over to your role now?
Oh, just about everything, to be honest with you. So long story short, when I was growing up, the DARE program was just about say no. Just say no. Don't do this. Don't do that. And much like any other kid in my generation, or any other kid in general, or human being that's interested in life, the more you tell somebody not to do something, the more they want to do it. And the focus was solely on drugs back then. And the fact of the matter is drugs are all around us. We like to simplify things and say good drug versus bad drug. A good drug can be good to somebody who's addicted to it, and a bad drug can be good to somebody who's addicted to it, and a good drug can be bad if somebody misuses it. And it really comes all the way down to choices and consequences and risks. So for 8 years, teaching that and telling that to kids, it was like it was affecting me and making me really do a lot of self-reflection on who I am, who I want to be, the decisions I make. I still don't make all the perfect decisions. I recognize that, but I also do focus a lot on what the consequences are. And so now, as sheriff, I'm in a position where when I make decisions, I can't do what I want to do. I have to do what the people want to do. I can't just do what the office wants to do, because as a sheriff, when you're elected, you represent everyone. Every single person that votes, every person that lives in Pierce County, and I'm a representative for them. So when decisions are made, I have to think of all the consequences.
Yeah.
And then weigh them. So that's what the program kind of really taught me. The benefits of it, I see every day still. Saturday they had Meet River Falls, and I had a little booth there, and two DARE students that I had from Prescott are now in a relationship with a tiny little baby, and they live here in River Falls, and they're so happy to come up and see me and share that with me. Like, those are the things that in a career in law enforcement that sometimes maybe don't get pointed out enough, but that's probably been the most rewarding thing about what I've been doing.
I was actually going to ask that. What's the most rewarding experience?
And recently, that's it. It really is that. And, it goes back to when I said earlier that people are my passion, and relationships and those types of things. I remember, obviously there's a sheriff campaign that's going on currently right now, and I'm sure people probably see enough signs of me out and maybe are getting tired of looking at me, but bear with me.
Never.
Yeah, but I put one down on the stoplight area of Cemetery Road and Main Street on the wooden fence. And as we were putting it up, we went back to my car, and this lady that lived in that area came out of her house, and she was visibly emotional. And she had said to me, she said, "I was hoping that you would put a sign up there. I was hoping that you would come do that." And I was like, "Well, why is that?" And then she explained a contact or a situation that we had encountered 15 years ago, and she was just very happy with the way that I had helped her out and treated her and her child, and that kind of set the tone, and that was really, really nice to hear.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
On the flip side, what's the most challenging?
Social media.
Oh.
I mean, I say that right now. I mean, I really think like social media, because it's just it's a hot topic right now in my brain. But the hardest thing is actually being the sheriff is balancing everybody's opinion. The sheriff is kind of unique in the sense that yes, we do enforce, the office enforces laws, tries to keep people safe, all of those type of cliche terms that you hear in law enforcement. But one of the things that's special with the sheriff's position, because we are elected, not only is our job to help keep people safe and enforce laws, but one of the main duties of the sheriff is to protect people's rights. Okay, and it took me 3.5 years to really start to grasp that. But one of my main purposes is to protect people's individual rights. And I have a Chief Deputy Colin Gillis, a Patrol Lieutenant Andy Toms, an Investigative Lieutenant Wade Strain, a Jail Administrator Allie Vergis. I have these people in place that really focus on that safety and security and those types of things, which allow me to kind of really take in the essence of the sheriff position.
With that, just asking about the challenges, you're a dad, young kids.
Yes, I do.
I want to know about what's the work-family balance. How do you handle that? That's a
great question. I will tell you this. One of the things that I tell a lot of my peers in the sheriff world, now I always like to point this out, there are only 72 sheriffs in the state of Wisconsin. Okay, all of us are elected, 72 counties. And out of those 72 sheriffs, if I did a poll, I would say that at least 60 of them don't have twin 8-year-old daughters at home that they have to deal with. Which I always have to remind people, like, that's almost the hardest part of my job, getting them to school, getting them back, fitting it into the day. This isn't a knock on my counterpart, Scott Knutson in St. Croix County, who has been probably one of the most important people in my short tenure as sheriff, as a support network and things like that. But I think he would be kind of surprised sometimes when he would call me and I'd have to be like, "Hold on a second, Scott, I gotta break the kids up." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And the girls would be fighting or screaming or something like that. And he would say, "You know what, just call me back a little bit later." So balancing that it's been very interesting. There have been times where I've had to bring the girls to the office, right, wrong, indifferent, whatever. I'll never have I never turn an employee away that has to bring their kid in or anything like that, because I get it. Like, I'm in that battle. And in law enforcement, it's a difficult profession for the spouses and the families, because a lot of the times they take a lot of the negativity and nobody ever sees it. You know, the days that, a person has to work a holiday or work a night shift or miss something like that. I think as humans, we sometimes tend to focus on the negative too much, and there's a lot that can be there, but also, the schedule does afford some really special times. So it is a balance, and it's important.
Yeah, for sure. I want to ask about any new initiatives around relationships, technology, engagement.
That's a great question. I wonder if Chief Gordy Young gave you that one or not, because we have initiative and we had a long overdue project that we worked together on, and it was this is totally geeky law enforcement type stuff, but records management system and a mobile system. So for as long as I've worked at the Sheriff's Department up until last year, the city of River Falls is very, very unique in the fact that it's split by 2 counties. You have St. Croix County and you have Pierce County divided by division. We historically in Pierce County have done all of the dispatching. So if you call 911 or something like that, it'll go to the sheriff's office in Ellsworth and we'll dispatch out to the River Falls cars. But they also get dispatched from St. Croix County. So they have a really difficult job in trying to monitor all that stuff. But for the longest time, they did not have what we consider, what we call a mobile system with our county. And a mobile system is one of those systems that you see in the squad car where they can do a lot of the report writing parked on the side of the road or whatever. Their system didn't necessarily match up with their records management thing. So, and that had been a long drawn out task of trying to make that work. And eventually last year, we were able to bring River Falls onto our platform, our records management system. So now they have a records management system that is like ours. Every agency in the Pierce County is on that same one. And now their officers also have this mobile side of it where they can get real-time information on the people that they're dealing with. They can get photos sent to their computer. In addition, it has GPS on it so they can see where individuals are. So that was a partnership that had really taken a long time. I mean, my entire career to make happen.
Yeah.
And we've done that.
Sounds like a big undertaking too.
Oh, it's
like just a lot.
Yes, it's a huge undertaking, and there are a lot of people in the background that are doing a lot of the real tough work, like Andy Toms for me, and Aileen, who's the secretary or who's the office manager in River Falls. Like, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes to kind of get this data transferred over and those types of things. But by and large, what it does is it makes the job easier and safer for the officers. So that was something I was very proud to work with Gordy on.
Yeah. So it's a big one. Do you have any advice for people in our community about public safety, interacting with deputies?
Oh, well, or law enforcement in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, here, one of the best phrases that I think has come out of a lot of stuff that we've dealt with over the last few years is see something, say something. If you see something that's out of character or different that makes you feel uncomfortable or whatever, you should call. There is a non-emergency number. I would say be very mindful of the times that you use 911. That should be for emergencies only. But, if there's something that concerns you or whatever, I would say don't hesitate to call the non-emergency number and report it, because that's what the officers are out there to do. And if they don't have any idea that something's happening on 2nd Street here or whatever, they may not make it over here. So it's good to keep the officers informed. And another thing, like for me, I'm pretty passionate about, like the neighborhood. If you have yard lights, keep them on,
Yeah.
I don't know why that just came to mind, but that's just something that I think kind of helps keep people safe at their homes. Be a good neighbor. Yeah. Watch your neighbor, watch out for your neighbor. I mean, that's what we have to do. And that's one of the nice things about this community is, by and large, we're very neighborly.
Yeah.
When you do have a law enforcement contact, I think perspective and balance are things that probably never get thought about, but the more we can put that out there and let people understand, it might let them understand how their contact went the way maybe it did. And what I mean by that is, a lot of the times the law enforcement officers, you have no idea what they were just doing before they have contact with you.
Right.
And, to give a little bit of grace and a little bit of leeway, it goes a very long ways. And, I'll just use an example of like a seatbelt. Maybe you're pulled over and you don't have your seatbelt on, and the officer says something and you don't think it's a big deal, and you think that maybe they're a little pushy or rude about it. Well, you might not know they could have came from a 3-car accident where people were not wearing their seatbelts and seen the results of that. So I think just understanding that the law enforcement officers there, by and large, are there to help you. Yes, we do have a job of enforcing laws, and sometimes when you get a law enforced on you, whether it be a speeding ticket or whatever, that might be your only contact, in your entire life.
Right.
You know, unlike if you get yelled at or scolded by your parents and sent to your room, 15 minutes later you're coming back out and I love you, mom. And, like that doesn't happen in the law enforcement world necessarily. So I think just keeping an open mind and keeping a balance and perspective of what it is probably one of the best things.
Yeah, good advice.
Yeah, I think so.
As we're kind of wrapping up, is there anything that we didn't touch on that you want to talk about?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh.
I heard that the head football coach for the Falcon football team was in this chair right before me.
He sure was, just a few minutes ago.
How exciting is that?
I know.
Coming off of a national title and stuff like that. Now, I know at the beginning of this I said that I came here to play football, and this is my shameless plug for my spectacular stat that every time I touch the ball, I scored a touchdown.
That's right.
Yep. I mean, not a lot of people know that. I've kept that under wraps, but so I carried the ball twice in my career, and I scored each time.
Oh my goodness! How exciting though for you to be an alumni and get a seat last year.
I have one last story that I'm super proud of, and it is so. I think it sums up my belief in the community and my passion for people, and So 3 years ago, the women's hockey team won their first national title. And I have a daughter that plays hockey, and so we came down for the parade. And before we came down for the parade, I was rummaging around the garage, and I found this old wooden hockey stick from when I was a kid, an American super sport hockey stick. I mean, the thing's got to be from the early 80s. And so I took that down from the rafters, and I zip-tied a UWRF flag to it. We came down for the parade, and parade goes through and we waved it around. Oh, super exciting. We'll bring it back home, put it up in the garage, and the women win another national title. And it's like, holy cow. So we bring it back down there and we wave it around. So now this stick has come to realize, excellence and national titles. Well, then we watched this awesome season by our football team and how they go all the way to Canton, Ohio. Well, myself and a friend of mine, Carmen Pata, I'm sure you've heard the name.
Yep.
We were teammates, and a friend of mine from back home, we decided that we're going to drive out to Canton, Ohio for the game. And because we drove, we got to bring the hockey stick with. So we bring the hockey stick with out to Canton, Ohio, and we get there, and I made reservations at a Holiday Inn. I did not know that was where the team was playing, but when we found out, we were pumped. So I did what like any good fan would do. I took the flag out and I stuffed it in the flower pot in front of the Holiday Inn. Kind of marked our territory.
Yeah, that's right.
And it made it there most of the night, I guess, because when we got back to the hotel, it was still there, and when we woke up the next morning, it was gone. And that was the day of the game, and I'm like, what the heck? Somebody took my flag stick. Like, this isn't cool. And I figured, maybe it was maintenance or something like that. So I talked to the front door gal, and she's like, no, it was here when I got here. And I'm like, well, can you check with maintenance, see if they took it? And she checked and everything like that, and we never found it. So kind of bummed out. I mean, the flag I could get again, but I was never going to be able to get that hockey stick back. So we go to the game, and we're standing there, and the team comes out, and my friend Rob elbows me in the side, because I was talking to somebody else, which is probably surprising with
shocking.
Yeah, how much I talked on this thing. That's who I am. He elbows me and he points at the team running out. He says, Chad, it's your flag. And I look, and here they had a young man who leads them out of the tunnel carrying the flag.
Wow.
Yes. So
that is awesome.
It is awesome. And what's even more awesome is that flag made it back on the airplane and now hangs at Patak's grocery store. Only to be removed for the next national title. So there's my shameless plug for Pat Patak and Patak's grocery store.
And he's coming in next, so.
No, he isn't.
I don't know how that happened.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Holy cow. I mean, you talk about royalty. No, I'm kidding. Talk about people that are very committed to the community, both here in River Falls and Prescott. I don't think you're going to find a family that does more for people than them. Oh. And it is really, really, it's inspiring. So
yeah.
I couldn't be happier to hear that he's going to be here. I should maybe hide somewhere.
Yeah. Surprise him, yeah.
Yes, but.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. So I appreciate you letting me come on, and I do think that one of the things that's important in law enforcement is that we can have these relationships, and I can answer people's questions and sometimes put put false narratives that may be out on social media and those types of things, kind of quell them down.
Yeah.
So.
Well, awesome. Well,
All right.
Chad, thank you for everything you do for our community,
thank you.
our county, and for taking a few minutes to join me today. I really am very appreciative.
As am I, so thank you very much.
Yes. We'll see you on the next episode of Beyond the Falls.